Hello you guys, welcome back to our channel. Today is an exciting day. I'm building a kayak. Cool. I know you guys have maybe seen some of my other harebrained building adventures. This one is one of the craziest. I'm trying to build an origami kayak. So it's made out of one just sheet of coroplast, which is like a plastic cardboard. I'm gonna be copying the basic design of this company called Origami Kayaks. They make these super cool folding kayaks, but they're super expensive, like over $1,000. We ain't rich, so I'm trying to make this. The total cost is gonna be less than 40 bucks. If it floats, it will be a great deal. First, we're going to this place called Glance and Sons. It's like an industrial sign supply store. Needed a 5-foot by 10-foot sheet of coroplast, and places like Home Depot and Lowe's only sell 4 by 8-foot sheets. I was calling around all these industrial sign supply stores, and I found this one that's pretty close to us that has a 5 by 10-foot sheet, and the whole sheet is only 20 bucks. That's the majority of the cost. The only other cost is like a few nuts and bolts and a bunch of like straps and backpack buckles that I bought off Amazon. It's a cheap project. Hopefully it is a seaworthy project. When we first get the sign, because it's 5 feet by 10 feet, that doesn't fit in any car we own, and it doesn't even fit in my parents' van. So I made 2 folds in like a parking lot so that it would even fit in my parents' car. And those first 2 folds are gonna be folds in the main design of the kayak, so it's not like adding any folds or anything, but I just had to make those 2 folds so we could even transport it. So I marked 45.75 and 74.25. That's where the 2 folds that I'm gonna make are gonna be, and then it should fit in my parents' van.
Now we're doing the other side. 45.75, yeah. 74.25.
Thanks, Gary. Got my chalk line to make straight lines that I'm gonna fold on. And then this is a little tool I made to crush the coroplast so that it'll fold along that line. I'll talk more later about how to make this tool.
There we go.
It's right in the middle?
Yep. Your first ever chalk line.
Woo.
Are you a helper? Good boy. Woo!
So to get the thing to fold where I want it, I'm gonna use this to like crush the coroplast along the fold line, which I've just made with the chalk line. And basically all this is, I bent a piece of metal and then I took a little bolt going through that piece of metal, and there's just a washer that rolls like that. So because you don't want something sharp, because you don't actually want to cut the coroplast, you just want to crush it. Moment of truth. I have to see if it'll actually fold along the lines I just like pressed down now.
Are you nervous?
Yeah. Hey. Look at that, folded right along it. That's actually pretty awesome. I was hoping that the whole crushing it and then folding along that line would work, and it did. Now I just have to do like 1,000 more folds and we'll be ready. We are back at my parents' house. Got the piece of coroplast behind me. Here are my plans, which I got from this French YouTuber named Beavers Nation. I'll link this down below, but I need to transfer all these fold plans onto that. So that's the next step. So I've now marked 1-foot increments along all the sides. Now I'm gonna use my chalk line to make a grid. The mock-up that I have is a 5 by 10 inch mock-up, and this is a 5 by 10 foot sheet of coroplast, so each little inch box is gonna expand to a 1-foot box. Got the grid set up. I'll show you guys. There you can see the grid lines. And those grid lines correspond to these grid lines. So now I need to draw each of these gray lines in here. Those are all gonna be fold lines. All right guys, I just finished drawing all the lines. Woo! Look at my hands, they're covered in carpenter pencil. I started a little after 3 and it's now 5 p.m. So it took me like 2 hours to do the chalk lines and draw all the fold lines in pencil. But now the only part left is to cut out the outside and to use my little scoring tool to make all the fold lines. And then theoretically, we'll have some semblance of a kayak. I'll show you guys what all these pencil markings look like. For the most part, it was pretty easy using my little grid and then making it larger, but there was a couple curved lines that were definitely a bit trickier. So there you can see all the gray lines are fold lines. So I'm gonna have to run my scourer over the whole thing and then just make a bunch of folds. But I think the first step will be to cut out these outside lines so that all we have to deal with is the actual kayak shape. Time to make some cuts. I am gonna be cutting on concrete, so this will probably destroy my razor blades, but I don't have a large piece of wood or cardboard to put underneath. One down. I'll show you guys the general shape. Can you see that? Now the next step is to score along all of the gray lines with my little tool. This is my tool. It is a bent piece of aluminum with a bolt going through it and a washer right here. And then I just wrapped all this tape around so it doesn't hurt your hands as much. But I'm just gonna rub this like a little pizza cutter along all the gray lines. And then it should fold along the lines that I want it to. So here we go. Officially scored all the lines. There are 6 lines. This one on the nose or bow if you're a boat person, and then there's 4 of these ones right here, there, and there. This one right here. All of those need to be scored on the back side because they're gonna fold inwards. So I need to do those 6, and then it's time to start folding. Everything is scored. Now it's folding time, people. Moment of truth. So we've creased all the folds. Now we're gonna actually try to make the boat. It's not gonna obviously hold water right now because I need to add straps and stuff, but we're just making sure it kind of looks like a kayak when it's full.
Clay, do you like that? That's pretty cool, huh?
Good morning, you guys. It is the next day. We're back at our apartment. We got a lot done at my parents' house, all the folding and that type of stuff, but now it's kind of experimental time. So what I'm working on right now, there's these 4 corners, which has this really tight pinched fold. You can see right here. It's a little pinch. I'm trying to make brackets to hold this closed. So all these are, took some of these steel ties, I folded them in half so that they look like that. It's sort of weird with the steel ties, the holes don't line up, so I'm drilling a new hole here and one down here, and then I'm putting a bolt through it so that that holds it in place. And I'm not too worried about drilling through the coroplast because this is going to be on the top of the kayak, so it's not like it's going to be in danger of leaking. So I've done one of them. I have to do 4, but I'll show you what the finished one looks like. So you can see I put these 2 bolts through it to hold the fold tight, but now that's really nice and secure. And then what's going to happen is this is going to fold up, this part of the cockpit. It's going to fold across and then connect to this side. And then I'm going to make a little latch that connects this bracket with that bracket. So that's what I'm working on this morning. Takes a little while. It's actually really hard to drill through these ties. Once I get that done, then I'll work on the latch to hold the 2 sides of the cockpit together. And then the only remaining thing to do is to put the buckles on that go across the top. I got this pack of buckles from Amazon. It was 15 buckles and a bunch of webbing. They're like backpack buckles, and it was only 10 bucks. So this is the other expense that I had besides the $20 coroplast. I've got each of my holes drilled now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2 for each bracket. Now I need to transfer them to the folds, and I need to poke holes in each of the folds. I cinch them down really tight because that holds the fold really nice and crisp. So I'm using some needle nose pliers and the drill. One other thing I forgot to mention, make sure you put the ends of the bolts all facing in towards the cockpit, because as you bring things together, the latch is actually going to go on the end of the existing bolts, or at least that's the plan. I'm all done with each of the 4 clamps. I'll show you guys what they look like. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you can already see by putting those clamps in, it kind of gives it some of that boat shape. When we fold in the bow and the stern, that gives it more boat shape. But what's going to end up happening, those two are going to come across, and then I'm going to build a latch that brings it together, and that's what's going to hold it in this kayak shape. Pretty happy with how those little clamp bracket things turned out. I think you could just use any type of aluminum or steel and just pound it into place. That was actually not too bad at all. The only steps I have left are the straps with the buckles, and then I need to figure out a latch to pinch the 2 parts of the cockpit together. All right, guys, I have made 2 latches. They're like steel straps. I drilled this hole and this hole. This hole and this hole, they're each 2 inches apart, and those are going to go over the bolts that are currently sticking out to hold the front and back of the cockpit together. Here's what it looks like. These are the brackets that I made to hold the folds in. So these are always on. And then this little piece is just like a latch to bring the 2 brackets together. And I have wing nuts on this one so that it's easy to put on and off without tools. There's one there and one there. And now it's already kind of holding it in a kayak shape. You can basically see what's going to happen. I now need to add straps across here. Did the straps. Let me show you guys. It's looking like a kayak. I did 2 on each end. So there's the strap. I literally just sliced a little hole. It's got buckles, so it's easy to clip closed. 1, 2, 3, 4. Look at that. So cool. Now the next test is to see whether or not it's seaworthy. There's a couple other things I still want to do. I probably want to put a seat in it, and then at each end piece, there's like a little slight hole. I think I'm gonna take a piece of neoprene that fits right over it and put those as little caps on the bow and stern. That's what Origami Kayak does. I think the first step, I just wanna see if it floats. Thank you guys for watching along. I'll probably end this video here. Be looking out for a part 2 where I try it in the water and make any upgrades / adjustments. And maybe we'll throw in a clip of me in the water at the end of this too. Hope you liked this video. If you've ever made a folding kayak, let me know in the comments, but also if you have any projects that you're working on, I always love to hear about some good DIY ideas. You guys are great. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Oh no, you're crushing it. You don't fit. Water, water.